Welcome to Here's My Story. My name is Jade. I rushed to my mom's side as she fell to the floor, clutching her throat and struggling to breathe. "Mommy, Mommy!" I yelled. I grabbed the phone and dialed 911 quickly. "My mom can't breathe. Please help her." "Does your mother have any known illnesses?" "Yes, she has asthma and is always on medication." The operator said, "We're sending an ambulance right away." In the hospital waiting room, I sat nervously until a doctor came to update me. "Your mother is stable now," he began. "She needs to take her asthma medication regularly, but she hasn't for the past 3 days." Confused and upset, I asked, "Why hasn't she taken her medicine?" The doctor looked sad as he replied, "Your stepfather didn't give her money for her medicine. We've given her enough for a week, but without a job and insurance, she has to pay for her own medicine." Anger welled up inside me. I knew my stepfather Cliff was stingy, but I hadn't realized his stinginess endangered my mom's health. The following day, I walked into the kitchen after school and saw my mom cooking. My stepfather was already sitting at the table, glancing impatiently at the clock. "Mom, you had a terrible attack yesterday. You need to rest," I said, worried. Cliff rolled his eyes. "If she rests, who's gonna cook dinner? Just worry about yourself." Anger surged within me. "Mom almost died because you wouldn't give her money for her medicine." Cliff looked annoyed. "Maybe you should drop out of school and work. Then you can buy her medicine." Tears welled up in Mom's eyes. I stood there, furious and heartbroken, realizing more than ever that we couldn't rely on Cliff. Late that night, I took Rex, my dog, for a walk to clear my head. I was deeply worried about how I could help Mom. We reached the park and I tossed Rex's little ball ahead. He dashed after it eagerly, but when he didn't return after a minute, I started to worry. "Rex? Rex!" I called, searching among the trees. Then I spotted something unusual behind a bush. A bag. Rex came trotting back with the ball in his mouth, just as I reached for the bag. "What is this, Rex?" I muttered, picking it up. Nervously, I unzipped the bag. Inside, there was a stack of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars. "Oh my God, there's so much money here!" I exclaimed, my heart pounding with surprise and uncertainty. I immediately knew what I had to do. "I've got to turn this into the police," I decided firmly. Taking Rex home, I planned to go straight to the police station. They would know how to find the rightful owner of the money. As soon as I walked through the door, Cliff's eyes locked on the bag. "What's that?" he demanded sharply. "I found this bag full of money in the park. I'm going to take it to the police," I stated, trying to sound determined. My stepfather's face changed from surprise to a look of calculation. "Give it here, Jade. Think of how that money could help us, especially with your mom's medicine." "No, it's not ours to use. We need to do what's right," I replied firmly, holding the bag close. Just then, Mom walked into the room and caught the tail end of our conversation. "Jade's right. We can't keep it," she supported firmly. Cliff paused, then seemed to resign himself to our decision. "All right, it's late now. We'll take it to the police in the morning," he said, though his reluctance was evident. I carried the bag to my room, still feeling upset. How can anyone even think about spending someone else's money? That's just like stealing, I thought to myself. I knew tomorrow would be a big day. In the morning, I would hand the money over to the police, then off to school. And after that, I was headed to a job interview at a local restaurant that needed a dishwasher. With all these thoughts swirling in my head, I lay down, determined to do the right thing. Soon, I drifted into a deep sleep. I woke up to the blaring of my alarm clock, groggy and disoriented. Rubbing my eyes, I stumbled towards the door to go to the bathroom, but something was off. The door wouldn't open. I jiggled the handle a few more times, but no luck. It was definitely locked from the outside. Panic surged through me. I dashed over to check my desk where I'd left the bag of money, but it was gone. "No, no, no," I muttered under my breath. It had to be my stepfather. Who else? I pounded on the door, shouting, "Cliff! Cliff! Open the door! That money isn't yours! This is stupid!" No answer came. "Mom! Mom! Please open the door!" I yelled next, but still there was silence. A thought crossed my mind. Did Cliff trick Mom too? But that didn't make sense. Desperate, I remembered my mobile phone and reached for it, only to find it wasn't there either. Cliff must have taken it. Hours passed as I waited anxiously. Finally, I heard footsteps. The door unlocked, and it was Mom. She looked exhausted, but hugged me tightly right away. "Your stepfather took the money," she said, her voice shaky as she handed me a note. "He drugged me with sleeping pills." The note was blunt. "I am taking this money. Do not call me or go to the police, or you will regret it." Tears started rolling down Mom's cheeks. I stood there stunned. How could Cliff do this to us? Despite everything, life had to go on. My mom's medication was about to run out, and we needed money. I went for a job interview at a local diner and got hired as a dishwasher on the spot. The next night brought an unexpected twist. Cliff burst through the door, his expression frantic. "The money was counterfeit," he blurted out as he stormed in. "They almost turned me into the police for counterfeiting. I barely escaped. This is all your fault," he accused, pointing at me. Mom shot up from her chair, her voice filled with anger. "How dare you come back into this house?" "This is my house, and if anyone is going to leave, it's you," Cliff retorted sharply, glaring at us. The next day, as I was on my way back to work, something completely unexpected caught my eye. My picture, along with Cliff's, was plastered on billboards around town. Under my picture, the words, "Good person," were boldly printed, and under Cliff's, "Bad person," accompanied by a mysterious message, "Wait for tonight." At work, my coworkers immediately bombarded me with questions about the billboards. I honestly have no idea, I admitted, my curiosity growing by the minute. What was going to happen tonight? When I got home, the air was thick with tension. Cliff was visibly shaken, likely from seeing the billboards. Confused, I quickly checked online to figure out why we were suddenly all over social media. It turned out we were featured on the TV show, What Would You Do? Suddenly, everything started to make sense. We gathered around the TV as the episode began. The host explained that the bag of money I found was part of a social experiment to see what people would do: report it or keep it. A camera and microphone hidden inside had recorded everything. The episode took a dramatic turn when they showed what happened after Cliff took the bag. The program's cameraman had discreetly followed him from a distance. They filmed him spending extravagantly at a fancy restaurant and buying designer clothes with the money. The climax came when Cliff tried to buy an expensive watch, and the clerks realized the money was fake. Before they could call the police, Cliff panicked, dropped the bag, and ran. Watching this unfold on TV, Mom and I couldn't help but laugh and shake our heads. Cliff, sitting right next to us, looked terrified, realizing that his actions were now known to everyone. Just as we were settling down from all the excitement, there was a knock at the door. Cliff turned ghostly pale and whispered frantically, "It must be the police. Don't open it, Jade." But I laughed and walked over to the door, with Mom chuckling behind me. Cliff watched us, his eyes wide with fear. To our surprise, it wasn't the police at the door. It was the producer of the What Would You Do show. He was holding the same bag I had found in the park, but this time, it was filled with real money. The producer handed me the bag, smiling. "Thank you for doing the right thing." He then looked at Cliff and added, "I hope your stepfather has learned his lesson." With that, he turned and left. Right after the producer left, Cliff turned to me with a greedy look in his eyes. "I deserve half that money. Actually, all of it. Give me the bag." "This money is for Mom's medicine," I replied, holding the bag away from him. Mom then faced Cliff, her expression stern and resolute. "Aren't you ashamed? I can't stay married to someone like you. I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. You need to leave this house, now." Cliff stuttered, clearly caught off guard. "Where am I supposed to go at this hour?" Feeling a bit of pity, I pulled out $100 from the bag and handed it to him. "Here's some money for a hotel," I said. Cliff snatched the money, stuffed it into his pocket, and stormed out of the house without another word. After Cliff left, I sat down and counted the money in the bag. It totaled $499,900. More than enough to cover Mom's medical expenses for a long time. Feeling a huge relief, I realized we wouldn't have to worry about money for her treatment anymore. Life gradually got back to normal as I continued with school. We never saw Cliff again. It was as if we were starting a new chapter, one that promised a better future for us.